The story begins with Amara Jackson boarding her flight from Philadelphia to Chicago. She's impeccably dressed in a tailored business suit, her hair in neat professional braids. Her demeanor exudes confidence and calmness, but inside, she's running through her presentation points. This is no ordinary flight. It's the final step in securing the Davenport financial contract, a game-changing opportunity in her consulting career. As she settles into seat 14C, she places her laptop on the tray table and takes a deep breath. Amara's mother had always taught her to own her space, a lesson she'd internalized through years of navigating corporate spaces where she was often the only black woman in the room. A few minutes later, a sharp voice pierces the cabin noise. "Excuse me." The voice is as cutting as a paper cut, and Amara turns to find a blonde woman in her mid-40s, wearing designer sunglasses pushed up on her head, despite being indoors. The woman is gripping the shoulder of a young girl, no older than 8, who looks uncomfortable and anxious. The little girl's fingers twist the edge of a pink backpack, her gaze fixed on the floor. "My daughter needs to sit by the window. You'll need to move," the woman snaps, her tone imperious. Amara blinks, stunned by the demand. "I'm sorry," she replies, keeping her voice calm and professional. "This is my assigned seat. I specifically booked it for the legroom." The woman scoffs, eyes sweeping over Amara's business attire and open laptop, her lips curling into a disdainful smirk. "My daughter gets anxious on flights," the woman says, lowering her voice to a stage whisper that others can clearly hear. "She needs the window seat. Surely you can understand that." Amara knows this tone. The entitlement masked as concern, the assumption that her needs are less important. Taking a steadying breath, she maintains her composure. "Ma'am, my seat assignment is 14C. Your daughter's seat is wherever you've been assigned. I'm not moving." The woman's face flushes, and she huffs, storming off to find a flight attendant. As Amara turns back to her laptop, she catches the eye of an older gentleman across the aisle. He gives her a subtle nod, an unspoken acknowledgement of the injustice he witnessed. It's a small gesture, but one that validates her resolve. Amara can feel the stares of other passengers, some sympathetic, others judging. She resists the urge to check her phone or appear distracted. Maintaining composure is not just about this moment. It's about refusing to be reduced to a stereotype. A few minutes later, the woman returns, dragging a young flight attendant named Michaela behind her. The attendant wears a practiced customer service smile, but her eyes betray a hint of discomfort. "Hi there, is there a problem?" Michaela asks, looking between the two women. Before Amara can respond, the woman jumps in. "Yes, my daughter needs the window seat for her anxiety, and this woman is refusing to move." Michaela checks her tablet and then looks at the boarding pass that Amara hands over. "Ms. Jackson is correctly seated in 14C, Michaela confirms. She turns to the woman. "And you are?" "Karen Whitfield," the woman snaps. "Row 22, but those seats don't recline properly, and my daughter needs the window." Michaela's expression doesn't waver. "I'm sorry, Ms. Whitfield, but Ms. Jackson has the right to her assigned seat. We can help you find another solution, but she doesn't need to move." Karen's face twists with indignation. "This is outrageous. Is this how your airline treats families?" Michaela remains calm. "All of our passengers deserve respect and their assigned seats. If your daughter's needs weren't noted during booking, we can try to accommodate you elsewhere." Feeling victorious but exhausted, Amara turns back to her laptop as Karen and her daughter move away, leaving behind a trail of murmured opinions from other passengers. A few moments later, the man from across the aisle leans over. "You handled that with class," he says. Amara looks up, surprised. "Thanks," she replies, trying to downplay the tension still thrumming in her chest. "I'm Marcus Green," he introduces himself, offering a hand. "Amara Jackson," she replies, shaking his hand. "HR at Telstra Financial," he adds, noting her raised eyebrows. "Diversity consultant." Amara replies with a hint of a smile. They fall into easy conversation, discussing their careers and perspectives on corporate culture. Amara finds herself relaxing for the first time since boarding. Marcus's warmth and insight are a welcome distraction from the earlier ordeal. As the plane lands in Chicago, Amara's phone pings with an email confirming her meeting at Davenport Financial the next morning. She feels a renewed sense of determination. She's worked hard to get to this point and won't let anyone derail her. Little does she know, the woman she just encountered on the flight will be one of the key decision-makers at Davenport Financial. The professional challenge awaiting her is far more daunting than she realizes, and Karen's influence within the company could threaten everything Amara has worked for. As Amara disembarks, she glances over her shoulder to see Karen staring at her from a few rows back, her eyes narrowed with something far more dangerous than anger: calculation. Stepping out into the bustling Chicago terminal, Amara checks her phone again. A message from Marcus reads, "Great meeting you. Coffee sometime?" Smiling, she types back, "Absolutely. Let's plan it." With her laptop bag securely on her shoulder, Amara strides forward. Tomorrow's meeting could define her career, but she's ready. Whatever challenge Karen Whitfield throws at her, Amara will meet it with grace and resolve, just as she did on the flight. The next morning, Amara Jackson steps out of her rideshare car, pausing to take in the imposing structure of Davenport Financial's headquarters. The building is a towering glass edifice in downtown Chicago, its sleek exterior reflecting the vibrant city around it. Adjusting her business suit, Amara takes a deep breath and walks confidently through the revolving doors, past the buzzing lobby where professionals in sharp attire move purposefully. She checks in at the reception desk, where a young man with fashionable rectangular glasses smiles at her. "Good morning, Ms. Jackson. You're here for 10 with Mr. Davenport." "Yes, that's right," Amara replies. "You'll be in the Beacon Room on the 47th floor. Can I get you some water or coffee?" "Water would be great, thank you." With her portfolio in hand, she follows a concierge to the elevator, her mind running through her presentation points. She's prepared for this: diversity, equity, inclusion, and how they align with Davenport's strategic goals. She reminds herself that this is not just a pitch, but a chance to set a new standard in the financial industry. As the elevator doors slide open, Amara steps into the expansive reception area of the Beacon Room, her heels clicking against the polished marble floor. A stylized lighthouse logo is mounted on the wall, a symbol of guidance and leadership. She's greeted by Richard Davenport himself, an imposing figure in his early 60s, with silver hair and a warm, authoritative presence. "Miss Jackson, welcome," Richard says, shaking her hand. "We're looking forward to your presentation." "Thank you for the opportunity," Amara replies, maintaining a confident smile. As they enter the conference room, Amara's stomach clenches. Sitting at the table, her eyes meet a familiar face: Karen Whitfield, the same woman from the plane. Karen is dressed in a sleek navy blue suit, her expression a mask of professional indifference, but Amara notices the slight tightening around her mouth. "Ah, I see you two know each other," Richard comments, oblivious to the tension. "Yes, we were on the same flight yesterday," Karen says smoothly, giving Amara a brief, forced smile. "Small world," Amara replies, matching Karen's tone, while mentally steadying herself. Amara takes a breath and begins her presentation with practiced precision. Her PowerPoint slides project onto the screen behind her, outlining a comprehensive diversity and inclusion framework. Davenport Financial has established a reputation for forward-thinking leadership, Amara starts. "Today, I'm here to discuss how a strategic diversity and inclusion plan can enhance not only organizational culture, but also market competitiveness." She moves fluidly through the presentation, detailing key strategies. Holistic approach, integrating hiring, retention, and promotion practices. Data-driven accountability, implementing metrics and reporting to track progress. Community engagement, creating partnerships that reflect corporate values. Just as Amara finishes presenting a slide on retention strategies, Karen's voice cuts through the room. "This all sounds very ambitious," Karen says, with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. "But I'm concerned about resource allocation. We already have diversity initiatives in place. Why should we invest further?" Amara's gaze doesn't falter. "That's an excellent question," she responds. "Many companies have disconnected initiatives that operate in silos. My approach ensures that each element reinforces the others, creating an integrated system. The metrics I propose aren't just checkpoints. They're performance indicators that tie directly to business outcomes." Richard nods thoughtfully, intrigued. "I find those metrics particularly compelling," he comments. "Innovation and employee retention are both areas we're focusing on." Karen's lips press into a thin line, but she forces another smile. "It's just that implementing such comprehensive changes could disrupt existing structures," Karen continues, trying to sound measured. "Change is inherently disruptive," Amara counters gently. "But without intentional disruption, we risk perpetuating systems that are no longer effective or equitable. The goal here is sustainable transformation, not just surface-level adjustments." As Amara moves to the Q&A session, Elizabeth Wells, the COO, chimes in with thoughtful questions about timeline and accountability. Amara responds confidently, emphasizing measurable impact and long-term gains. Richard Davenport, visibly impressed, concludes the meeting with a handshake. "Thank you, Ms. Jackson. You've given us a lot to consider. We'll be in touch shortly." As the executives file out, Karen lingers behind, approaching Amara with a calculated smile. "Quite a presentation," Karen says, "but don't assume that one good pitch will get you the contract. There's more to corporate culture than numbers on a screen." "I'm aware," Amara replies evenly. "Culture requires buy-in from leadership, especially those who may feel threatened by change." Karen's eyes flash with annoyance, but she quickly masks it. "You may find that not everyone is on board with your aggressive tactics," Karen warns. "Just so you know, decisions here aren't made by one person." Amara doesn't back down. "I never assumed they were," she says, maintaining eye contact. "But I'm here to create partnerships, not antagonize people. I hope to work with everyone involved, including you." Karen's forced smile doesn't hide her irritation as she walks away. Amara lets out a slow breath, determined not to let one person's animosity undermine her success. Back at her hotel room, Amara receives a text from Marcus. "How'd it go? Drinks to celebrate or commiserate?" Smiling, she types back, "Celebration, I think. Some resistance, but I held my ground." Her phone buzzes again with a call from Elizabeth Wells. "Great job today," Elizabeth says. "You handled Karen's challenge gracefully. Richard was impressed, and I think you're in a strong position. Just be prepared. Karen isn't one to let go easily." "Thanks for the heads up," Amara replies, grateful for the support. As she looks out at the Chicago skyline, Amara feels a surge of determination. Despite Karen's interference, she's proven herself capable. Now she needs to strategize for the next phase, not just winning the contract, but implementing the vision in a hostile environment. Back at her hotel room, Amara looks at her reflection in the mirror, adjusting the neckline of her midnight blue evening gown. The dress is both elegant and commanding, with subtle silver threading that catches the light when she moves. It's the perfect balance between professional and sophisticated, just the image she wants to project tonight. She checks her phone one last time. A text from Marcus pops up. "Picking you up at 6:30. Looking forward to seeing you." Smiling, Amara types back, "Same here, ready to make an impression." There's also a message from Elizabeth Wells. "Just a heads up, Karen is in full committee mode tonight. Stay sharp. Amara replies with a simple, "Noted. Thanks." Taking a deep breath, she steps into the lobby, where Marcus is waiting, looking incredibly sharp in a tailored black tuxedo. He greets her with a warm smile and a hint of awe in his eyes. "Wow," he says, his gaze lingering. "You look amazing." "You clean up pretty well yourself," Amara replies, matching his smile. The Chicago Cultural Center is aglow with soft lighting, its grand rotunda transformed into an elegant event space. Crystal chandeliers sparkle overhead, and the tables are draped in rich burgundy and gold. A string quartet plays classical music, and waiters circulate with champagne flutes. Richard Davenport greets them at the entrance. "Amara, Marcus, so glad you could make it," he says, shaking hands. "Thank you for inviting us," Amara replies. "The turnout is fantastic," Marcus adds. "Indeed, education programs are a passion of mine," Richard replies. "Enjoy yourselves, and Amara, I'd like to introduce you to some of our board members later." As they move deeper into the room, Marcus leans closer. "This place is impressive," he whispers. "And a bit intimidating," Amara admits. "You got this," he reassures her. Near the silent auction area, Amara spots Julian Washington, a distinguished-looking board member she met earlier. "Miss Jackson," he greets warmly. "Glad to see you here." "Julian, good to see you again," Amara replies. "And you must be Marcus," Julian continues, shaking hands. "I hear you two made quite the impression at the office." "Just trying to keep up with Amara's brilliance," Marcus jokes. As they chat, Elizabeth Wells joins them, looking striking in a simple yet elegant black dress. "You're making waves already, Amara," Elizabeth says with a hint of pride. "Hopefully good ones," Amara responds. "Definitely good, but be prepared. Karen is on a mission to reclaim control tonight." As if summoned, Karen Whitfield appears, commanding the room with her stunning red gown and flawless posture. Her smile is perfectly practiced, but her eyes are sharp and calculating. "Miss Jackson," she says, her voice smooth but cool, "enjoying the evening?" "Absolutely," Amara replies. "It's an impressive event." "Thank you. We work hard to ensure our initiatives reflect the company's values." "That's important," Amara agrees. "Values should be consistently demonstrated, not just displayed." Karen's expression hardens momentarily, but she quickly recovers. "Well, it's good to see you here. Enjoy the evening." As Karen moves away, Julian chuckles softly. "She didn't expect you to hold your ground like that," he says. "I'm not here to compete with her," Amara replies. "I'm here to help Davenport grow." "Exactly the mindset we need," Elizabeth adds. As the evening progresses, Richard Davenport takes the stage, giving a speech about the importance of community investment and diversity in leadership. "Tonight we're not just celebrating success," Richard says. "We're recognizing the commitment to progress. It's our responsibility to lead by example, both in business and community." After his speech, Karen steps forward to announce the fundraising total, but Richard interjects. "Before we continue, I'd like to acknowledge someone who represents the future of our vision at Davenport. Miss Amara Jackson has brought forward an ambitious framework that challenges us to think beyond traditional approaches to diversity and inclusion." Karen's smile falters, but she quickly composes herself as Richard gestures for Amara to join him. "Amara, would you share a few words about your vision?" Amara is caught off guard, but moves forward gracefully, microphone in hand. "Thank you, Mr. Davenport. At its core, diversity is not just about representation, but about creating spaces where every voice is valued and every contribution recognized. Real change doesn't happen through token gestures, but through intentional, measurable efforts that hold us accountable. Tonight's turnout and the enthusiasm for educational initiatives show me that Davenport is ready to lead by example, to set the standard for corporate inclusivity." Her words are met with enthusiastic applause, and she glances over to see Karen looking visibly tense. Marcus gives her a reassuring nod from the audience. As the crowd disperses after the speech, Elizabeth pulls Amara aside. "That was perfect. You handled it beautifully." "Thanks," Amara says, still catching her breath. "Listen, I think it's time to strategically involve Karen," Elizabeth continues. "What do you mean?" "If you position her as part of the solution, it might neutralize her resistance. Offer her a role in co-leading one of the initiatives. It will force her to align publicly with the project." "That's clever," Amara replies, impressed. "Turning her potential sabotage into collaboration?" "Exactly. Use her own need for recognition and control against her." The gala transitions into a more casual evening, with guests dancing and mingling. Marcus finds Amara near the bar, holding a glass of champagne. "You were incredible up there," he says, handing her a fresh drink. "I just hope it's enough," Amara replies. "You're stronger than you think. I've seen it firsthand." "Thank you, Marcus, that means a lot." There's a moment of unspoken tension, and before she can second-guess herself, Amara leans in and kisses him lightly on the lips. It's a brief, soft kiss, but it holds a promise of something more. "I'm glad you're here," she whispers. "So am I," he replies, his hand lingering on her back. As the night winds down, Amara reflects on how the evening unfolded. She's strengthened her professional alliances and set a precedent for transparency and progress. Yet she knows Karen won't give up easily. Later, in her hotel room, Amara drafts an email to Karen Whitfield, inviting her to co-lead the mentorship program. It's a strategic move that will either force Karen to collaborate or expose her unwillingness to change. Either way, it puts Amara in the driver's seat, demonstrating that true leadership isn't just about power, it's about inclusion and collaboration. Amara wakes up to the soft glow of morning light filtering through the curtains. She checks her phone, noticing a new email notification. It's from Karen Whitfield. Subject: Mentorship Program Collaboration. Amara: "Thank you for your email and the invitation to co-lead the mentorship initiative. I appreciate your willingness to involve me in the process. Let's discuss how we can align our approaches to ensure a smooth integration with existing programs." Bet. Karen Whitfield. Amara reads the message twice, analyzing its tone. It's formal yet cooperative, but something about it feels calculated. A message from Elizabeth Wells follows soon after. Smart move involving Karen. She'll either cooperate or expose herself as an obstacle. Just tread carefully. I'll support you where I can. Amara dresses in a crisp white blouse and tailored trousers, determined to project confidence. Arriving at the Davenport Financial headquarters, she heads straight to the meeting room where Karen is already waiting, reviewing some documents. "Good morning, Karen," Amara greets, maintaining a professional tone. "Morning," Karen replies with a tight smile. "I've been looking over your initial framework for the mentorship program." "Great, I'd love to hear your thoughts," Amara says, setting her laptop down. Karen's tone remains measured and precise. "I think the idea of pairing senior executives with entry-level employees is valuable, but we should be cautious about setting unrealistic expectations. If we make it seem too ambitious, it might deter some mentors from participating." Amara nods thoughtfully. "I agree that realism is important. Perhaps we can start with a pilot program, a smaller group to demonstrate success before scaling up." Karen seems to consider this, her expression softening. "That could work," she admits. "It would give us concrete results to present to the board." Over the next hour, they brainstorm and refine ideas, finding common ground where Amara hadn't expected it. Karen's corporate experience and knowledge of internal politics prove surprisingly useful. Though guarded, she occasionally offers genuine insights into how to navigate the company's complexities. Just as they are finalizing some points, Elizabeth Wells steps in, giving both women a glance. "Everything going well here?" she asks, smiling. "Actually, yes," Amara replies. We're making good progress. Karen nods, albeit reluctantly. We're structuring the mentorship program in phases, starting small and scaling up based on results. Elizabeth's smile widens. That sounds promising. Keep me posted on your next steps. As Elizabeth leaves, Karen pauses, looking hesitant. Look, she says finally, I know I can come off as difficult, but I've been at Davenport for 15 years. I've seen well-meaning initiatives fail because they didn't consider the cultural resistance embedded in the company. Amara softens her tone. I understand that change can feel threatening, especially when it challenges established practices. But collaboration is key. I'm not here to undermine what you've built, Karen. I'm here to enhance it. Karen seems to absorb that, and for a fleeting moment, Amara thinks she sees a hint of vulnerability in the woman's eyes. Maybe I've been too guarded, Karen admits. But you should know, Davenport isn't as progressive as it wants to appear. Just be prepared for pushback from higher up. Amara nods, grateful for the honesty. I'll keep that in mind. Let's focus on building a strong pilot program together. Agreed, Karen replies, looking slightly more sincere than before. After the meeting, Amara heads to a nearby cafe to decompress and prepare notes for the mentorship program. As she sips her Americano, she spots Marcus coming through the door, carrying a portfolio and looking as sharp as ever. Fancy meeting you here, he says, flashing a warm smile. Right back at you, Amara replies, returning the smile. Taking a break from HR brilliance? Something like that, he jokes. Mind if I join you? They settle at a corner table, the conversation flowing effortlessly. Marcus listens intently as Amara recounts her unexpected collaboration with Karen. That sounds like progress, Marcus says. She might be seeing you as less of a threat now. Maybe. Or she's just calculating how to stay relevant in the new structure. Corporate survival instinct, Marcus nods. Either way, having her as a collaborator is better than as an enemy. Their conversation shifts to more personal topics, life in Philadelphia, career goals, and how corporate politics sometimes feel like a battlefield. There's a moment of comfortable silence before Marcus leans forward. I was thinking, he begins, his voice softer. Maybe when this project is less hectic, we could actually plan that coffee date, instead of just bumping into each other. Amara's lips curve into a smile. I'd like that, she says. Just as Marcus is about to suggest dinner plans, Amara's phone buzzes. It's a message from Julian Washington, the board member she met at the gala. Need to discuss a recent development. Call me ASAP. Amara's smile fades slightly, and Marcus notices the shift. Everything okay? He asks. Not sure yet, Amara replies, dialing Julian's number. Amara! Julian's voice comes through. Something's come up. Karen has raised concerns about your initiative to the executive board, claiming it might disrupt existing structures and cause resistance among senior management. Amara's stomach tightens. Did Richard buy into it? Not entirely, but he's cautious. We're having a follow-up meeting tomorrow, and Karen has been pushing her narrative hard. You might want to prepare some counterpoints. After hanging up, Amara sighs heavily, and Marcus reaches across the table to squeeze her hand. You knew it wouldn't be easy, he says gently. Yeah, but I didn't expect her to flip so fast, Amara replies. Maybe this is just her way of testing your resolve, Marcus suggests. Either way, I'm not backing down, Amara states firmly. Back at her hotel room, Amara sits at her laptop, drafting new data points and anticipating Karen's objections. She knows that she needs to frame the program not just as an initiative, but as a strategic necessity. She sends a quick message to Elizabeth. Update, Karen pushing back again, preparing counterpoints for tomorrow. Any insights? Elizabeth replies almost immediately. Expected. Frame it as a long-term investment with low initial disruption. Use data from similar companies. You got this. Taking a deep breath, Amara continues to refine her arguments, determined to secure the board's confidence, despite Karen's interference. Amara wakes up to a crisp Chicago morning, her mind already racing with strategies and counterpoints. She knows that Karen's resistance will be calculated and subtle, designed to undermine her credibility without appearing overtly hostile. Her phone pings with a message from Elizabeth Wells. Just got word. Karen has submitted a memo to the board outlining her concerns about your proposal. Expect her to frame it as being too ambitious and disruptive. Let me know if you need any last-minute support. Amara quickly replies, "Thanks for the heads up. I'm prepared. We'll emphasize strategic integration and gradual implementation. See you there." She takes a moment to center herself, reflecting on her journey. How many times she's had to prove herself in hostile environments. This isn't just about a contract. It's about breaking barriers. Walking into the executive boardroom on the 50th floor, Amara is greeted by a panoramic view of the city. The room is filled with high-ranking executives, including Richard Davenport, Julian Washington, and a few others from the board. Karen is already seated, looking poised and composed, with a folder of printed materials in front of her. Elizabeth gives Amara a reassuring nod from across the room. "Good morning," Richard begins. "Thank you all for being here. We're here to discuss the diversity and inclusion proposal presented by Ms. Jackson. Karen has raised some valid concerns, and I want us to discuss them openly." Karen sits upright, folding her hands elegantly on the table. "While I appreciate Ms. Jackson's enthusiasm and vision, I believe the proposal is overly ambitious and lacks sufficient groundwork to ensure smooth integration with existing policies. Implementing such drastic changes could alienate senior staff and potentially lead to resistance from department heads." Amara keeps her expression neutral, but inside she feels the sting of Karen's strategic phrasing. Richard turns to her. "Amara, would you like to respond?" Taking a deep breath, Amara nods. "Certainly. While I respect Ms. Whitfield's concerns, it's important to recognize that the proposal is not about drastic, sudden changes. It's designed as a phased approach, specifically to minimize disruption while achieving long-term cultural transformation." She clicks the remote, and a new slide appears on the screen. The first phase is a pilot program that focuses on mentorship and inclusion training. This allows us to gather feedback and assess effectiveness before scaling up. By involving department heads in the initial stages, we ensure collaborative input rather than imposing change from the top down. The room is quiet as she continues. Additionally, data from similar initiatives in the financial services sector show a 27% increase in retention and a 35% improvement in innovation metrics within 18 months. These numbers represent measurable success, not just theoretical benefits. Karen doesn't miss a beat. While the numbers are promising, the challenge remains in securing buy-in from senior staff. We can't afford to alienate our leadership by implying their current practices are inadequate. Amara remains composed. That's precisely why the first phase includes leadership workshops tailored to executives and senior managers. Rather than casting blame, these sessions emphasize personal growth and professional development, which are essential for evolving with the changing workforce demographics. Richard looks thoughtful. "Karen, do you see a way for your department to support this initiative, perhaps by contributing insights from your current diversity programs?" Caught slightly off guard, Karen hesitates. "I could certainly coordinate with Amara on gathering baseline data to track progress." Julian Washington interjects. "I think that's a reasonable collaboration. Integrating Karen's insights with Amara's framework could create a more holistic approach." Richard nods. "Excellent point, Julian. Let's move forward with the pilot phase, incorporating Karen's input on existing practices. We'll regroup in 3 months to assess the results." As the meeting concludes, Amara feels a wave of relief and triumph. Karen approaches her as the room clears. "You handled that well," Karen admits, though her tone is still guarded. "Thank you. Amara replies, choosing diplomacy over confrontation. I hope we can work together to make this initiative a success. Karen hesitates before nodding, a flicker of acknowledgement in her eyes. Let's see how it goes, she says before leaving. Elizabeth approaches, her expression one of quiet pride. You just navigated a minefield like a pro, she says. Thanks to your support, Amara replies. Richard was impressed. You've proven you can hold your own under pressure. That evening, Amara and Marcus meet at a rooftop bar overlooking Lake Michigan. The cool breeze sweeps through as they take in the glittering city lights. You were incredible today, Marcus says, raising his glass. It was exhausting, Amara admits, sipping her drink. But I think we've set a solid foundation. You did more than that. You proved that integrity and perseverance win over manipulation and politics. They fall into a comfortable silence, the warmth between them growing stronger. Marcus takes her hand, lacing his fingers through hers. You know, he says, glancing at her with a soft smile, I'm proud of you. That means a lot, Amara replies, leaning in to rest her head on his shoulder. Back at her hotel, Amara reflects on the day. She knows that Karen is not completely on board, and there will still be challenges ahead. Yet, the small progress made today feels monumental. Building allies within Davenport Financial is the key to lasting success, and even Karen's reluctant cooperation is a step forward. Her phone buzzes with a message from Julian. Nicely done today. The board respects your resolve. Keep pushing forward. Davenport needs this. She types back a quick thank you, knowing that she'll need to keep proving herself. But for tonight, she allows herself to feel proud of what she's accomplished. As she gets ready for bed, her phone pings once more. A message from her mother, Vivian. Heard about your success today. You've always been fearless. Keep shining, baby girl. Smiling, Amara whispers to herself, more battled down, many more to go. And with that, she turns off the light, knowing that her resolve and determination will carry her through the next challenge, no matter how complicated or daunting it may be. The next morning, Amara arrives at Davenport Financial with a renewed sense of purpose. The pilot phase of the mentorship program is set to begin, and she knows that early success is critical to securing long-term support. She checks her calendar, noting a series of workshops with department heads. Karen has agreed to co-lead a few sessions, but Amara remains cautiously optimistic. There's a fine line between collaboration and sabotage, and she's ready for anything. As Amara heads to the meeting room, she's intercepted by Elizabeth Wells, the COO. How's our star consultant this morning? Elizabeth asks, giving her a warm smile. Ready to kick off the mentorship program, Amara replies. Any updates I should know about? Just a minor hiccup. Karen's already shared some reservations with the department heads, cautioning them about program expectations. I thought you should be aware. Of course she did, Amara mutters under her breath. Just focus on leading with confidence, Elizabeth advises. You're doing great. The first workshop takes place in a modern conference room with glass walls and sleek wooden accents. About 20 department heads are gathered, looking curious and slightly apprehensive. Amara sets up her presentation, and as expected, Karen enters just as the meeting is about to start, taking a seat near the front. Good morning, everyone, Amara begins. Today marks the start of a program designed to connect leadership with emerging talent, fostering mentorship and collaboration. Our goal is to build pathways for professional growth that benefit both employees and the organization as a whole. She presents a few key slides focusing on measurable outcomes and how mentorship directly contributes to retention and innovation. As she shifts to interactive activities, she notices some hesitant glances at Karen, as if waiting for her reaction. Mentorship is not just about guidance, Amara continues. It's about modeling leadership and creating a legacy within the company. Let's break into small groups and discuss how mentorship has impacted your career. Karen clears her throat. I just want to emphasize caution about overcommitting mentors. We don't want to burden senior staff with unrealistic expectations. Amara doesn't flinch. That's a valid point. Our aim is to balance mentorship responsibilities with existing roles, ensuring mutual benefit. We'll evaluate the workload in the pilot phase and make adjustments as needed. A few department heads nod approvingly. Sensing the positive shift, Amara moves on to a group activity where leaders share their own mentorship experiences. Karen's contributions are measured and cautious, but Amara notices that she's not openly opposing the initiative, just maintaining a guarded distance. As the workshop wraps up, Karen lingers behind. Amara braces herself, unsure of what to expect. "You handled that well," Karen admits, almost grudgingly. "Thank you," Amara replies. "I appreciate your input. It helps to have someone with institutional knowledge on board." Karen hesitates, then lowers her voice. "Look, I may not have been fair to you. It's just that I've seen a lot of initiatives come and go, each one promising transformation but leaving behind confusion and fatigue. I'm protective of what's already working." Amara softens her tone. "I get that. I'm not here to dismantle the progress you've made. I'm here to enhance it. Your experience is invaluable to making this work." Karen doesn't quite smile, but her expression shifts from defensive to thoughtful. "Maybe I should have given you more credit," she concedes. "It's not too late," Amara replies, offering a small smile. "Let's see how the pilot goes," Karen says, before finally leaving the room. Later that evening, Amara meets Marcus for dinner at a chic bistro downtown. The atmosphere is cozy with soft lighting and modern decor. Marcus is already seated at a corner table when she arrives, giving her that familiar, easy smile. "You look more relaxed than the last time I saw you," he jokes. "That's because I survived the first workshop," Amara replies with a laugh. As they order drinks, Marcus leans forward. "You know, I've been thinking about something," he says. "Oh?" Amara prompts, raising an eyebrow. "About how much I admire your resilience. It's not easy walking into a place where people question your intentions and stand your ground with grace." Amara blushes slightly. "Sometimes it feels like walking on eggshells. One misstep and it all unravels. But you don't let it, you keep pushing forward. That's why you're going to make this work, because you don't just talk about change, you live it." Amara smiles, touched by his words. "I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that," she admits. "Any time," Marcus replies, reaching across the table to take her hand. "I mean it." They fall into comfortable conversation, talking about everything from corporate culture to their favorite places to unwind. Marcus's presence is like a balm to her stress, reminding her that she's not just fighting battles alone. As they're finishing dessert, Amara's phone buzzes. It's an email from Julian Washington. "Congratulations. Just got word that Richard wants to present the pilot results directly to the board next month. Keep pushing forward. Momentum is on your side." She reads the message aloud and Marcus grins. "See? You're making real progress," he says. "Calm step at a time," Amara replies. "But it feels good to see things moving." Just as they're preparing to leave, Marcus's phone rings. He glances at the screen and frowns. "Everything okay?" Amara asks. "Yeah, just something at work," he replies, sounding distracted. "One of our diversity initiatives is facing backlash. Someone leaked the proposal draft, and it's being misrepresented online." Amara's professional instincts kick in. "Need help figuring out a strategy?" Marcus smiles appreciatively. "I might take you up on that. Could be useful to compare notes on how to navigate resistance." As they step out into the crisp night air, Amara feels both reassured and cautiously optimistic. She's not just building a program at Davenport, she's building alliances and finding support, even from unexpected sources. She glances at Marcus as they walk down the bustling city street, hands loosely entwined. Whatever challenges lie ahead, both at Davenport and beyond, She knows she's not facing them alone. Amara wakes up to a flurry of notifications on her phone. Emails, messages, and several missed calls from Elizabeth Wells and Julian Washington. Her stomach tightens as she quickly skims through them, her heart sinking. The subject line of one email catches her attention. Urgent. Backlash on mentorship program. Opening it, Amara finds that an internal memo about the pilot program has been leaked to social media, sparking a storm of controversy. Some headlines read, Davenport's mentorship program, inclusive or discriminatory. Employees furious over forced mentorship requirements. Internal culture change sparks employee revolt. Amara's phone rings and it's Elizabeth Wells. Amara, we've got a problem, Elizabeth says without preamble. I just saw, Amara replies, trying to keep her voice steady. We need to get ahead of this. Richard wants you in his office immediately to strategize damage control. Karen's already there. I'll be right there, Amara replies. Walking into Richard Davenport's office, Amara feels the tension crackling in the air. Richard stands by the window, looking grim, while Karen sits calmly at the conference table, scrolling through her phone. Ah, Amara, Richard says, turning around. You're aware of the situation? Yes, I've seen the news articles. I'm still gathering information about how the leak happened. Amara replies. The leak isn't the main issue right now, Karen interjects, her tone calm and controlled. It's the perception. Employees are outraged, and the narrative online is that we're forcing mentorship responsibilities onto already overburdened staff. Amara's mind races. This isn't just about a leak. It's about how the message was framed. The mentorship program was designed to be voluntary and flexible, Amara clarifies. Yes, but that's not how it's being perceived, Karen counters. We need to contain this before it becomes a PR disaster. Richard cuts in. We need a clear, concise response that doesn't sound defensive, something that reassures employees and stakeholders that their concerns are being addressed. Taking a deep breath, Amara speaks up. I suggest we release a statement emphasizing that the mentorship program is entirely voluntary and tailored to individual comfort levels. We should also reiterate the program's purpose, to provide guidance and career development for those who opt in. Karen looks skeptical. That might not be enough. We also need to show that we're listening. What about holding a company-wide Q&A where leadership can address concerns directly? Amara nods thoughtfully. That's actually a good idea. It would demonstrate transparency and accountability. We can follow up with feedback forms to ensure employees feel heard. Richard considers both proposals. Let's do both. Amara, draft the official statement. Karen coordinates the Q&A logistics. We'll hold it tomorrow morning. I want this contained by the end of the week. Back in her office, Amara quickly composes a statement. At Davenport Financial, we value our employees and understand the importance of transparent communication. Our mentorship program is designed as a volunteer opportunity for personal and professional growth. We are committed to ensuring that all staff feel supported and heard throughout this initiative. We invite all employees to join us for a company-wide Q&A session tomorrow morning, where leadership will address any concerns and provide clarity about the program's goals. Your feedback is crucial to our continued growth and success. Thank you for your commitment to making Davenport Financial a place where everyone can thrive. Satisfied with the tone, Amara sends it to Richard and Elizabeth for approval. Within minutes, Richard replies. Perfect. Let's roll it out immediately. The next morning, the auditorium is packed. Employees murmur among themselves as the leadership team, including Richard, Karen, Elizabeth, and Amara, take the stage. The tension is palpable, and Amara feels a familiar tightness in her chest. Richard opens the session with a brief introduction, then hands the microphone to Amara. Good morning, Amara begins, projecting calm confidence. I know there have been concerns and misconceptions about the mentorship program. and I'm here to provide clarity and reassurance. She briefly outlines the program's voluntary nature and its customizable approach, then opens the floor to questions. A middle-aged man in a gray suit stands up first. Isn't this just another way to offload managerial duties onto employees without compensation? Absolutely not, Amara replies. Mentorship is about building connections and sharing knowledge, not delegating workload. Those who choose to participate will be supported and recognized. A young woman with glasses raises her hand. What if we don't want to participate? Will it affect our performance evaluations? No, Amara says firmly. Participation is entirely optional and will not impact any performance metrics. This is about opportunity, not obligation. The questions continue, some critical, some curious, but Amara handles each one with calm and precision. Eventually, Julian Washington stands up. I just want to say that mentorship changed my career trajectory. Having guidance and support from someone who's been through similar challenges made all the difference. I strongly encourage those who feel uncertain to give it a try. You might be surprised at the benefits. His endorsement visibly shifts the mood in the room. As the session wraps up, employees slowly filter out, some nodding thoughtfully. Amara notices Karen approaching her, a faint smile on her lips. That went better than expected, Karen admits. People just needed reassurance, Amara replies. You handled it well, Karen says. I underestimated your ability to rally support. Maybe we can build on that momentum together, Amara suggests. Perhaps, Karen concedes, before walking away. Back at her office, Amara is reviewing feedback when Marcus knocks on the door. You killed it out there, he says, stepping inside. I wasn't sure if it was enough, Amara admits. It was. People saw your authenticity and your dedication to making the program work. That's all they needed to feel reassured. Marcus hesitates before speaking again. Actually, I wanted to tell you something. Our HR department has been looking to revamp our inclusion strategy, and after seeing how you handled this crisis, I might recommend bringing you on as a consultant. Really? Amara asks, surprised and flattered. Yeah, you're the real deal, Amara, Marcus says, his voice sincere. You're not just implementing change, you're inspiring it. For the first time in days, Amara lets herself smile fully, feeling a sense of accomplishment and relief. After a long and intense day, Amara decides to treat herself to a quiet evening. She texts Marcus. Crisis averted. Want to celebrate? Drinks at 7. His reply comes almost instantly. Absolutely. The usual spot? Perfect. See you there. She takes a moment to look at herself in the mirror. There's a new lightness in her eyes, a reflection of the sense of accomplishment and relief she feels. Changing into a simple yet elegant emerald green dress, she heads to their favorite rooftop bar, a place that offers panoramic views of the Chicago skyline. When Amara arrives, Marcus is already waiting, leaning against the bar with a relaxed smile. He looks effortlessly stylish in a crisp white shirt and dark blazer. There she is, he greets her, pulling her into a warm hug. Hey, Amara replies, feeling a pleasant flutter in her chest. You look good. I could say the same about you, he teases. They find a cozy spot near the railing, and Marcus orders their drinks. To success and resilience, Marcus toasts, raising his glass. And to have good people in your corner, Amara adds, clinking glasses with him. As they sip their cocktails, Amara finds herself relaxing more than she has in weeks. The tension from the day slowly dissolves as they talk about everything but work. Favorite movies, childhood memories, even some embarrassing moments from college. Marcus turns serious for a moment, setting his drink down. I've been meaning to tell you something, he starts. Uh-oh, that sounds ominous, Amara jokes, trying to lighten the mood. No, nothing bad, Marcus reassures her. It's just, I really admire how you handled everything at Davenport. You didn't just react to the crisis. You took control and redirected the narrative. That's impressive. Amara smiles softly. Honestly, I wasn't sure if it would work. I just kept telling myself to stay calm and authentic. You did more than that. You made people believe in you, Marcus says, his eyes sincere. Including me. There's a beat of silence, and then Marcus reaches out to take her hand. I'm not sure where this is going, he admits, but I want to figure it out. With you. Amara's heart pounds a little faster. Me too, she replies. We'll take it one step at a time. Just as they're about to leave, Amara's phone buzzes. It's a message from Elizabeth Wells. Emergency meeting tomorrow morning. Rumors circulating about a potential buyout of Davenport. Prepare contingency plans. Amara frowns, showing Marcus the message. That's unexpected, he says, his expression shifting to concern. If there's a buyout, it could jeopardize the entire mentorship initiative, Amara realizes. You think Karen's behind it? I don't know. But if someone higher up wants to undermine the culture shift, this could be part of the strategy. Marcus rubs his jaw thoughtfully. I can help dig around, see if any rumors are circulating in HR circles. That would be great, Amara replies. This just got a lot more complicated. The next morning, Amara enters the conference room to find Richard, Elizabeth, Julian, and surprisingly, Karen already gathered. The tension is palpable. Morning, Richard greets, looking visibly stressed. What's going on? Amara asks, taking a seat. There's a rumor circulating that Davenport is being targeted for acquisition by a private equity firm, Elizabeth explains. Who started the rumor? Amara inquires. We're not sure, but it's causing uncertainty among senior staff, Richard admits. Karen interjects. If this goes through, it could mean significant restructuring. Most likely any new initiatives, including the mentorship program, could be put on hold or eliminated. Is there any confirmation from the board? Amara asks. Not yet, Julian replies. But we need to prepare for the possibility. Amara thinks fast. If we can demonstrate that the mentorship program is adding value and enhancing employee morale, it might become too valuable to cut, even under new management. Elizabeth nods. We need data-driven evidence that it's increasing productivity and retention. We also need employee testimonials, Julian adds, personal stories that show how the program is making a difference. Karen hesitates before speaking. I can help gather testimonials from the departments that have participated in the pilot. I know some mentors who are already seeing positive results. Amara raises an eyebrow but nods. That would be helpful, she says cautiously. After the meeting, Karen approaches Amara privately. I just wanted to say, I know I've been difficult, Karen admits, looking uncharacteristically vulnerable. You've had valid concerns, Amara replies diplomatically. Maybe. But I've also been protective of my territory. I'm not used to sharing control, Karen admits. But seeing how you handled the backlash, it made me realize that you're not here to tear down what I've built. You're just trying to make it stronger. Amara softens her stance. That's all I've wanted from the start. We both care about making Davenport better. Karen hesitates before offering her hand. Let's work together. Amara shakes her hand, a genuine sense of mutual respect forming. I'd like that. Back in her office, Amara drafts a presentation for the board that highlights early successes from the mentorship program, including productivity metrics and employee satisfaction rates. She also compiles personal testimonials from mentors and mentees, emphasizing how the program has improved morale and engagement. Just as she's finishing up, Marcus calls. Got some intel for you, he says. The buyout rumor originated from a leaked internal memo. Someone's deliberately trying to stir up uncertainty. Do you know who leaked it? Not yet, but I'm working on it. Just thought you should know. Amara leans back, realizing that whoever is behind the leak is not just targeting the mentorship program, they're targeting Davenport itself. Amara is still in her office late into the evening, going over the compiled data and testimonials. Her laptop pings with a new email from Marcus. It contains a forwarded internal memo with a note. Found this circulating in HR circles. You're going to want to see this. Opening the document, Amara scans the content, her eyes narrowing as she reads. To senior leadership team. Subject: Strategic opportunities for organizational restructuring. In light of recent discussions regarding mentorship and diversity initiatives, it is prudent to evaluate potential cost-saving measures and assess alignment with Davenport's long-term financial strategies. Her breath catches as she reaches the final paragraph. It is advisable to reassess the mentorship pilot program's scalability, as its operational demands may outweigh potential benefits. Consolidation or reallocation of resources may be required, especially if the anticipated buyout materializes. Signed, Karen Whitfield, Head of Talent Acquisition. Amara feels a wave of disbelief and anger. Karen's been playing both sides, pretending to support the mentorship program while simultaneously undermining it behind closed doors. Her phone rings. It's Marcus. Did you see it? He asks, his tone cautious. Yeah, she's been planning to sabotage the program from the start. I should have seen it coming. You couldn't have known, Marcus replies gently. What's your next move? I'm going to confront her, but not without a plan. Amara calls Elizabeth Wells, who sounds exhausted but attentive. Elizabeth, I need to talk to you about something important, Amara begins. What's going on? Elizabeth asks, sensing the urgency. I have proof that Karen's been orchestrating the sabotage from the inside. I just received a memo that she circulated among senior leadership, suggesting the mentorship program be cut due to financial concerns. Are you serious? Elizabeth replies, disbelief in her voice. Dead serious. She's been playing both sides. I need your support to bring this to Richard. We can't let her undermine everything we've built. Absolutely, Elizabeth agrees. Bring everything to my office first thing tomorrow. We'll plan our approach. The next morning, Amara arrives at Elizabeth's office with printed copies of the memo. Elizabeth is already there, joined by Julian Washington. I asked Julian to sit in, Elizabeth explains. We need board support to address this. After reviewing the memo, Julian looks up, his expression grim. This is serious, he says. Karen has been actively undermining a board-approved initiative. That's grounds for disciplinary action. Elizabeth nods. We need to be strategic about this. If we confront her directly, she'll deny everything. We need to bring this to Richard with clear, irrefutable evidence. Julian leans back thoughtfully. I suggest we call an emergency meeting with Richard and the executive team, present the evidence, and allow Karen the chance to explain herself. If she doubles down, she'll only dig her own grave. Amara agrees, her resolve hardening. Let's do it. I'm tired of playing nice with someone who's been sabotaging me from day one. Richard convenes the meeting in his executive office, looking puzzled by the urgency. Karen arrives, appearing confident and unbothered. What's this about? Karen asks, giving Amara a fleeting, disdainful glance. Elizabeth begins. Richard, we have a serious issue to address regarding the mentorship program and internal communications. What issue? Richard asks, his tone cautious. Amara steps forward and hands Richard a copy of the memo. This document was circulated among senior leadership without my knowledge or approval. It suggests that the mentorship program is financially unviable and hints that it should be discontinued if a buyout occurs. The document was authored by Karen Whitfield. Richard's face hardens as he reads through the memo. Karen, care to explain this? He demands. Karen barely flinches, maintaining her composed demeanor. I was simply presenting a contingency plan. In the event of a buyout, it's prudent to evaluate which initiatives may strain resources. That's just good business sense. Julian cuts in. No one authorized you to undermine a board-approved initiative. Your memo goes beyond contingency planning. It actively advocates for dismantling the mentorship program. Karen's face tightens, but she remains defiant. It's my responsibility to ensure the company's stability. If that means recommending difficult choices, so be it. Amara speaks up. Your responsibility is to support company initiatives, not sabotage them. You've been manipulating perceptions to create resistance while pretending to cooperate publicly. Elizabeth follows up. Richard, this isn't just about the mentorship program. It's about integrity and accountability. Karen has been playing both sides, risking the reputation of the entire leadership team. Richard rubs his temples, visibly stressed. Aaron, I expected better from you. This kind of duplicitous behavior is unacceptable. We'll be conducting a formal review of your actions, and I expect your full cooperation. Effective immediately, you're suspended from your duties pending investigation. Karen's eyes widened, clearly not expecting the severity of the response. Richard, you can't be serious. I'm entirely serious, Richard interrupts firmly. We can't have leadership acting against the company's interests. You're dismissed for now. Karen leaves the room, her face pale and tight with anger. Julian turns to Amara. You handled that well. It took courage to confront her directly. I just did what was necessary, Amara replies, feeling both relieved and exhausted. Later that evening, Amara and Marcus meet at Maple and Ash for dinner. Marcus greets her with a warm hug. I heard what happened, he says. You really took charge. It wasn't easy, Amara admits, resting her head against his shoulder. But it had to be done. You did the right thing, Marcus reassures her. You didn't just save the mentorship program, you preserved Davenport's integrity. Amara feels a weight lift from her shoulders. Thanks for being my rock through all this, she says. Always, Marcus replies, kissing her forehead. As they settle into dinner, Amara reflects on how far she's come. She's not just fighting to change a company culture. She's standing up for herself and others, proving that authentic leadership can break through resistance and deceit. The following week, Richard personally commends Amara during a company-wide meeting, emphasizing the importance of integrity and vision. Elizabeth and Julian formally announce that the mentorship program will not only continue, but expand, using the positive outcomes from the pilot phase as evidence of its long-term value. Karen's departure sends a message to the entire company. Accountability is non-negotiable. Amara knows there will be more challenges ahead, but with Marcus by her side and a team of allies backing her, she feels ready for whatever comes next. As she watches the sunset over the Chicago skyline, she knows she's earned her place at Davenport. Not just as a consultant, but as a true leader. The morning light streams through the windows of Amara's office, casting warm patterns on the floor. She sits at her desk, sipping coffee and looking over the latest mentorship program metrics. The results are promising. Higher employee engagement, improved retention rates, and positive feedback from both mentors and mentees. Her phone buzzes with a message from Elizabeth Wells. Board meeting tomorrow to review progress. Numbers look fantastic. Proud of what you've accomplished. Let's discuss the next steps afterward. Amara allows herself a moment of pride. The program has not only survived, but thrived, and Davenport Financial is becoming a model for inclusive leadership. Leaning back in her chair, Amara thinks back to that fateful flight, where an encounter with Karen Whitfield set off a chain of events that transformed both her career and her life. Who could have predicted that standing her ground over a window seat would lead to confronting corporate politics and fighting for real change? A soft knock on her door interrupts her thoughts. It's Julian Washington, carrying a folder and his usual warm smile. Got a minute? He asks. Of course, Amaral replies, gesturing for him to sit. Julian hands her the folder. It's the final board report on Karen. They officially decided to terminate her employment. The investigation revealed a pattern of sabotaging initiatives she felt threatened by. Richard wanted me to give you the news personally. Wow, Amara breathes, processing the weight of the decision. I knew she was resistant, but I didn't realize the extent of it. Sometimes people fear change so much they'd rather burn it all down than adapt, Julian says thoughtfully. I didn't want it to end this way, Amara admits, her voice tinged with sadness. You didn't force this outcome, Julian reassures her. She made choices, repeatedly, and ultimately faced the consequences. You did what you had to do to protect the integrity of your work. Amara nods, knowing he's right. Thanks for always being in my corner, she says. You've earned it, Julian replies. Keep leading with integrity. People notice. That evening, Amara meets Marcus at a cozy Italian restaurant. The atmosphere is intimate, with flickering candles and the soft hum of conversation. Marcus greets her with a kiss on the cheek and pulls out her chair. You look like you're in a good mood, he notes with a grin. It's been a day, Amara replies, smiling. Karen's officially out. The board finalized it today. Wow, Marcus says, his eyebrows raised. That's huge. Yeah, it's bittersweet. I didn't want it to come to this, but it's what had to be done. You did what was right, even when it was hard. That's real leadership, Marcus assures her. As they eat, their conversation flows effortlessly from work to personal dreams and aspirations. Marcus shares stories from his own HR initiatives, and they laugh about the corporate chaos they've both faced. After dessert, Marcus reaches across the table, taking her hand. You know, seeing you navigate this whole situation has been inspiring. I've always admired your strength, but this? It's next level. I couldn't have done it without your support, Amara replies sincerely. I think we make a good team, Marcus says, his eyes warm and genuine. We do, Amara agrees, feeling a flutter of excitement about where this might lead. The next morning, Amara enters the boardroom with Elizabeth by her side. Richard is already there, reviewing the final program metrics. As the board members take their seats, Julian gives her a subtle nod of encouragement. Richard opens the meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to discuss the progress and future of the mentorship initiative. Ms. Jackson has been leading this project with outstanding dedication, and the results speak for themselves. He gestures for Amara to begin. Amara steps forward, her presentation succinct and confident. Over the past month, we've seen a 12% increase in employee engagement and a 9% improvement in retention rates among mentees. Feedback from both mentors and mentees highlights enhanced job satisfaction and personal growth. This program is not just a success, it's transforming our company culture. Elizabeth chimes in. We've also received external recognition from industry partners who are interested in replicating our model. This positions Davenport as a leader in inclusive practices. Richard smiles, clearly pleased. Fantastic work, Ms. Jackson. The board unanimously supports expanding the program company-wide. We want your continued leadership in making this vision a reality. Amara feels a rush of relief and pride. Thank you. I couldn't have done it without the team's support and allies like Elizabeth and Julian. I'm committed to making Davenport a model of progressive leadership and inclusion. After the meeting, Amara steps outside, taking a moment to breathe in the crisp Chicago air. Marcus calls just as she's about to head home. So, how'd it go? He asks. Better than I expected. They're fully on board to expand the program, Amara replies. I knew you'd pull it off. You always do, Marcus says warmly. Can I see you tonight? Amara asks, a smile in her voice. Of course, I'll cook this time, Marcus jokes. I'll bring wine, Amara promises. As Amara walks back to her office, she reflects on the journey she's been through. What started as a simple plane ride turned into a life-altering challenge, pushing her to stand firm in the face of resistance and lead with integrity. She's built not just a successful program, but a lasting legacy. One that proves that real leadership is about resilience, authenticity, and unwavering dedication. And with Marcus by her side, she feels more confident than ever about navigating the future, both professionally and personally. As the sun sets over the Chicago skyline, Amara knows one thing for sure. This is just the beginning of her new chapter, filled with growth, love, and purpose.